Today, the DOJ charges crypto exchange KuCoin with violating anti-money laundering rules. The SEC proposes a $2 billion fine for XRP issuer Ripple, and Paul Brody of EY breaks down what to expect from the Ethereum network in 2024. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Talia Kaplan. Bitcoin keeping its momentum, holding above the $70,000 market reclaimed yesterday. By noon Eastern, the cryptocurrency inched higher by 0.2%. Meanwhile, Ether's also in the green, hovering just below $3,600. Chainlink's a bright spot today, climbing 3.8%. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. The SEC is seeking a nearly $2 billion fine against Ripple. Last year, a federal judge found the issuer of XRP violated securities law by selling the token directly to institutions. Now the court has to issue a final judgment and decide how much Ripple has to pay for breaking the law. While the SEC says the judge should hand down a $1.95 billion penalty against the company. Ripple's chief legal officer posted on X that it would file a response to the proposed judgment next month. We should also note that while Ripple was found to have violated the law when it came to selling XRP to institutions, the judge said the crypto company didn't break the law when it sold to retail investors. Next, U.S. officials just charged KuCoin and two of its executives with allegedly violating anti-money laundering rules. Prosecutors for the Southern District of New York allege that the exchange and two of its founders, Chun Gan and Ka Teng, operated an unlicensed money transmitting business and violated the Bank Secrecy Act by failing to maintain a proper anti-money laundering program. At the same time, the CFTC charged the exchange with failing to register with the agency, failing to implement an effective customer identification program, and more. Now, we reached out to KuCoin, and the company told us it was currently investigating the details of the charges. The company added that it respects the laws and regulations of various countries and strictly adheres to compliance standards. At the end of last year, the company also agreed to shut down in the state of New York and pay a $22 million fine after failing to register in the state. All right, let's jump to our main story. Paul Brody, the global blockchain leader for EY, is a big believer in the potential of the Ethereum network. I sat down with him last week to discuss the recent resurgence of crypto adoption and what to expect from Ethereum in the near future. There have been several developments in crypto since the beginning of this year. Most notably, spot Bitcoin ETF started trading here in the US. We also saw Bitcoin reach new all-time highs. So with all these developments, how do you think that's impacting crypto sentiment and adoption?
So in general, I think these developments are driving adoption and they're driving kind of the sentiment in the market. And it's not just in the US. US is by far the biggest market, but we're seeing this in Europe and Asia. There's a global, I'll call it regulatory convergence going on, where crypto is coming from outside the regulated mainstream into the regulated environment. And that's driving adoption because most of the world's capital it's in regulated markets, and it's behind sort of regulatory controls like pension funds and large investment funds. And unless it's something like a regulated structured product or it's listed on an exchange, they really can't buy it. They'd be violating their kind of responsibility to their clients.
So obviously you're big on Ethereum. You wrote a book on Ethereum for business after all. So I'm curious to get your take on some current events applying to Ethereum. Recently, the network went through its latest upgrade, Dencun, which is meant to help with scalability. So how has that upgrade influenced adoption and sentiment to Ethereum and Ether specifically?
So Ethereum's been doing this for quite a while now. And Dencun in particular isn't a major upgrade, although it's got some important features. There's two things worth taking away from Dencun. The first is that like all these other previous Ethereum upgrades, they did this flawlessly, no drama, no downtime. It's kind of really amazing when you think about it, right? They moved several $100 billion of financial infrastructure from one version to the next without a hiccup. So that's the first thing, which is just the maturity of the organization, the people, the engineers behind it. The second thing, though, is that first the merge that happened, about, I think it was 12 months ago, and now Dencun, they are both milestones in terms of driving down the cost of transactions. And Dencun in particular built on the merge, and now we're seeing some of the transaction costs on Ethereum, they are falling well below a penny. Some of them were allowed down to 5 cents previously, but now we're below a penny. And this may not seem like a big deal, but particularly for industrial customers, you're talking about, I've got clients, for example, they want to do 1 million or more transactions a day for a single product line to manage their supply chains. So when you start to talk about those volumes, really, really low transaction costs are extremely important.
Another development we're following, obviously a lot of asset managers have applications pending before the SEC for spot Ether ETFs. Some of those asset managers include BlackRock, Van Eck, and Grayscale. And last time you were on the show on Crypto World back in September, you were optimistic, it seemed, that these applications will in fact get approved. And you noted that if they do in fact get approved, there will be a tidal wave of institutional money that flows into the space. So are you still feeling optimistic that these Ether ETFs will get approved, and what will change if they do get approved?
So I'm very optimistic. The experience with the Bitcoin ETFs has been very positive. There's the same kind of thing pending with the Ethereum ones that are going to be just as positive. What is going to happen eventually, and I'm a little surprised it hasn't happened yet, is that people don't treat Bitcoin and Ethereum differently. They both see them as cryptocurrencies. But really, Bitcoin has become the kind of digital gold. It is a crypto asset, whereas Ethereum is really shaping up as a crypto computing platform. And so if you want to hold an asset just for appreciation, people are going to buy Bitcoin. If you want to invest in a computing platform for financial services and business operations, then Ethereum and ETH in particular is going to be your choice.
Now, we recently learned that the SEC is reportedly investigating the Ethereum Foundation. Forbes is reporting that the SEC is seeking to classify ETH as a security. So what's your reaction to that, and what will happen if ETH is in fact deemed a security?
So two things. I mean, first of all, there's been all these reports, but there haven't been a lot of facts. And I could be wrong because I haven't seen the latest data, but I don't think the SEC themselves have actually said anything on this topic officially. You know, I feel like in the Bitcoin discussion, first of all, they delayed the Bitcoin conversation a couple of times. They allowed the maximum timeline. And secondly, there were always rumors flying around. I think it would be premature to worry too much about that. But obviously, even if Ethereum is categorized as a security, it doesn't change the fact that it is an extremely valuable platform. And we've already worked with a lot of clients to be able to use the Ethereum blockchain without ever holding ETH. You can just transact entirely in US dollars. So I don't think it will be an obstacle to the adoption of Ethereum as a computing platform. And it certainly won't be an issue in Europe or Asia, where a lot of other countries have regulatory frameworks that support securities and allow them.
We also recently learned that BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, got into the asset tokenization race, creating a fund on the Ethereum network. And BlackRock is creating the fund with Securitize, which is a big name in real-world asset tokenization. So what does that signal to you? It
signals, I think, something that we've expected for a long time, which is that as money comes into this crypto and blockchain ecosystem, if you want a crypto asset, you will buy Bitcoin. But if you want a tokenized digital asset, you will buy those on the Ethereum platform. And what we're seeing now is Ethereum has just become the default choice for any kind of digital token, any kind of tokenized asset. Even if it's not a cryptocurrency, if it's a real world asset, gold, oil, you name it, it's going to be on the Ethereum ecosystem.
Now, last time you were on the show, you also mentioned that there is going to be one blockchain ecosystem that rules them all, and you believe that is Ethereum. Why do you think that is?
So Ethereum is dominant in the same way that things like Microsoft and Windows are. It's not that, and I always hate getting into the discussion of which platform is better, because there are always better platforms. Technology keeps moving along. However, what happens is we tend to pick a platform that's widely adopted and it gets a lot of momentum. And we see that in computing platforms all the time, right? Windows is the world's desktop operating system. IBM has the dominant share, is the 100% share of the mainframe business. Ethereum is, if you think of Ethereum as a computing platform, this idea that we would have a single dominant platform makes a lot of sense. And if you look at the ecosystem right now, for example, there's quite a few challengers to Ethereum, but Ethereum itself now contains more than 40 layer 2 networks. So the real competitive action, the real innovation is now happening inside the Ethereum ecosystem, not in competition with it. So that the momentum has really changed in terms of where the market focus is. And I think that is actually really good for the development of applications, because people are no longer saying, which network should I be on? they're going to be on Ethereum. And then the question is, what application should I deploy? What layer 2 network should I use?
Now, Brody also explains some of Ethereum's enterprise use cases outlined in his book, Ethereum for Business. Plus, he addresses how blockchain technology could help address election security concerns. You can check out the full interview over at cnbc.com/cryptoworld. Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.